Hey, welcome to Graphic Policy Television, GPTV. It's Wednesday, which means comic books are hitting the shelves all across the world. Floppy comics, trade paperbacks, graphic novels, digital comics. I mean, pretty much Wednesday is Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever holiday you celebrate for comic book fans. Now, we've got two trade paperbacks in my hands, both provided by DC Comics, so keep that in mind when figuring out what you want to buy. Want to be transparent, we did not buy either of these. These were hooked up on that. So I'm going to give my opinion, and hopefully if you've seen these videos, you think the opinion's actually pretty honest and fair. So first up, we've got Batman Detective Comics Volume 1, Rise of the Batman, and then after that we're going to talk about Scooby Apocalypse Volume 1. Both kind of rebirths in a way. One, the official DC Comics rebirth, the other one, rebirth of the Hanna-Barbera universe. I guess we'll call it that. So first up, let's talk about Detective Comics Volume 1, Rise of the Batman, written by James Tynion IV, who does tons of comics. Really, really talented, fantastic writer. Generally, pretty much everything he writes I've enjoyed to some level. Some more than others, but it's usually pretty entertaining. Eddy Barrows has done the art, as well as Alvaro Martinez. Collects issues 934 to 940. Total about $21 or so total, with $2.99 a cover. $16.99 is the trade, so you're saving a comic plus $1 by getting the trade. We're going to have links below this that you can actually get the trade for much cheaper, so you're going to be saving a lot more than just that. This issue, as I said, collects 934 to 940, and you're like, wait, that doesn't sound like a rebirth and a restart at all. Actually, it sort of is. It goes back to the original numbering of Detective Comics, which restarted under the New 52, and they're reverting back to the old numbers, counting the New 52 in there. So we're on the march towards 950, and eventually issue 1000 down the road many years from now. But 950 actually, by the time this video is filmed, is going to be right around the corner, which is actually pretty exciting. So as I said, this is 934 to 940, the first volume of this new menagerie of DC Comics that kind of combines the old and the new, the 52 for New 52 with whatever came before that, however you want to call it, to this new DC universe called Rebirth. And overall, I have to say, I really, really enjoy this. Now, this is an interesting comic, and though it does say Batman Detective Comics, it's a team book. Now, normally you don't really think of Batman as a team, but this one is. It's got some fantastic characters. Red Robin, Batwoman, Spoiler, I'm trying to think of all the characters' names. We also have got Clayface. Orphan is the one I was trying to think of. All come together on a single team to basically battle what's known as the Colony. I'm not going to spoil about the Colony, but they're actually a pretty cool addition to the Batman universe. It's something that feels like it's been building for years and naturally fits in. Like the Court of Owls, I can see the Colony being a villain for years and years to come. As I said, it's all about the team, and I just rattled off all the team members, and you're like, wait, what is this? As much as it says Batman on there, this book is really mostly about Batwoman. The second volume, too, is about Batwoman. She really kind of steps forward through this, and eventually she'll be getting her own series that should start in like a month or two or somewhere around there. But it's about forming this team and getting these characters all together. Now, there's obviously something that kind of ties them all together. The next volume really kind of gets into that. But this one is that initial coming together, and someone is targeting the Bat family, so it's kind of put under the guise of protecting them. Now, it's a very interesting combination. Red Robin, the brains, Batwoman, kind of their leader. You've got Spoiler, Orphan. I don't want to call them the muscle, but they are kind of the wild cards, actually, I think, out of everything. Maybe I would say Spoiler's kind of the heart of the team. Orphan's really the wild card. And they got Clayface, who's definitely the muscle after this. And you're thinking, what the hell is Clayface doing? And it actually works. It's really cool. I like it. Overall, the story is really solid. I think the art is fantastic. I'm going to kind of give some of the art, and you can check things out. There's kind of a new bat tower, which I'm showing off, sort of, called the Bell Tower, that Red Robin set up, which I think is really kind of neat. It's a great addition to the Batman world as a whole. We actually got really great some artwork there. Artwork, as you can see, it's top-notch. I really, really like it. Eddy Barrows is a great artist. I will admit there may be some things a little off here and there that don't quite always fit. But then you get stuff like that with that Clayface that looks freaking awesome, if you ask me. Between the pencils and the coloring, it's just sweet. Overall, I really, really enjoyed it. We get covers in between the chapters, which is nice, the penciled covers. As far as extras in the back, there's actually a decent amount and stuff that I like. We have variants, which we've seen become the regular thing. I'm just going to try not to spoil things. We got variant gallery. Sorry, I'm blowing through that quick because I really don't want to spoil that last page. And then after the variant gallery, we've got some pencils that you can check out here. So I think those are cover pencils. Some page pencils, which I think are awesome. Overall, you're getting more for a cheaper price than you would the individual issues, plus you get a bunch of bonus and extra things. Now, there's a huge event at the end of this volume. It's all over the internet. I'm not about spoilers, so I'm not going to spoil it, because I think part of the fun was actually reading the comic. You know, check it out. It's worth it. At first, you might sit there and be like, God damn it, that's a pretty, like, we've seen that sort of thing before in comics. Nope, there's a little twist. Keep on reading. It kind of pays off and plays into the bigger Rebirth storyline that's going on as to who's behind Rebirth and stuff like that. So overall, really, really like this. Scooby Apocalypse. How do I describe Scooby Apocalypse? All right, first, it's Jim Lee and Keith Giffen and J.M. DeMatteis, if I mispronounced that, I'm sorry. Howard Porter are all about this. Issues 1 through 6 of the series. I think it's $3 a piece for those issues, so you know, you're getting... you're saving a little bit, pretty much the same as the Detective Comics. Doing well with that. How do I describe this? So DC took their Hanna-Barbera properties, Scooby-Doo obviously being one, Flintstones being another. They took a whole bunch of characters and mashed them together. In Future Quest, there's also an updated Wacky Raceland. You can see that characters have been changed, twisted. I don't know what you want to call it, but it's pretty interesting takes on the characters. They're updated. You see this and you're immediately thinking, oh, it's like grim and gritty. No, not really. It's different. That's what I'm going to go with. It's different. Now, this characters are named Fred, Daphne, Velma, Shaggy, and Scooby. But it's not quite what we would expect if you were fans of Scooby-Doo. I love Scooby-Doo, even Scrappy-Doo, people who hate it and their idiot cousin. The cartoons are a classic for me. There's just things that I watched growing up. Batman, Scooby-Doo, Harlem Globetrotters, Jonathan Winters. Like, I loved those episodes and I could watch them over and over and over again. This, while it has very similar things to share with the Scooby universe, it's just slightly different than that. So if you're going in expecting basically Scooby-Doo with just kind of an update, more look, now it's a little different. There's been a worldwide pandemic that's gone on. Everyone's been turned into monsters. These are the survivors going on to figure out what's going on. Can they solve things? Can they save the world? And figuring out like who's behind it and why and stuff like that. It's weird. Best way I can kind of describe it is think of Scooby-Doo mixed with the Ghostbusters, I think is the kind of the vibe I would really kind of go with. Basically, if like all they were doing is fighting ghosts throughout the entire world, there are no other human beings. That's what I think of when I'm thinking of this series. It's kind of similar to that. You know, there are fighting monsters, vampires, stuff like that. None of it's like super gory. I wouldn't give it to kids, though, like I would some of the other Scooby-Doo comics that DC Comics puts out. Overall, I'm kind of like in the middle of this. I wish it was maybe more towards the classic Scooby-Doo, but for its own, on its own, it's like a unique thing, and that I'm kind of up in the air. I'll be totally honest on that one. I've enjoyed reading it. I haven't loved reading it. Let's put it that way. So this is one you might want to get grab from the library if possible. You know, it's worth checking out if you're a diehard Scooby-Doo fan, or the concept of Scooby-Doo meets the Ghostbusters is a really cool, with like way more violence and guns and like a mystery machine that's like an ATV. If that's the concept that you like, then you should really go check it out. If you're like me and you're like, no, I want them to meet the Globetrotters and be like slightly goofy, this is definitely not for you. If you're expecting more towards the old school cartoons, this is not it. Overall, though, it's good. It's really, really good. The art is solid. That's the one thing I really do like. Like, you're either going to like the art, or you're going to hate the art. I think the design, it's different, but there's something cool about it. The comic seems to recognize the characters a decent amount. It doesn't change them a whole lot. You know, Shaggy is still a stoner. Daphne, or Fred's clearly still pining from Daphne. There's stuff like that. So it has a lot of the classic, like, tropes and things that made Scooby-Doo work, twisted a little bit. So it's a little bit stranger is the best way I can describe it. Overall, it's not bad. In between chapters, you get art for covers and stuff like that, so you can check that out. We also have in the back, as far as bonus material, we have variant covers. Check stuff out. And then what I actually think is kind of the more interesting stuff, we get some character lineup work from Howard Porter, which I really like. That's the kind of bonus stuff that I actually really enjoy. We got a look at the Mystery Machine, which I described as ATV. I don't know what you really kind of call it. Some sketches of the various characters, which I think is pretty solid, and then some other work. So overall, I mean, like, if you like the idea of this updated, bit more kick-ass Scooby-Doo, this is for you. I myself, as I said, I liked reading it. I don't know if this is one I would go buy if it wasn't necessarily in front of me, if that makes sense, or, you know, if it was handed to me. For folks who are diehard Scooby-Doo fans, maybe you like it. There's a lot there that's enjoy it, and if you can read it with the humor that it's, like, doing an homage to the old Scooby-Doo stuff, while at the same time kind of like sending it up in like an 80s action film sort of way, you could probably really, really appreciate it. It's one of those that it doesn't seem to quite commit to exactly what it wants to do. It bounces around a little bit much. If it was just an over-top 80s kind of action film version of these characters, I'd be totally good with it. I think it would be much more consistent style and tone of the series, but the way it is now, I don't think it quite fits exactly. It doesn't quite settle on what it wants to be, for kind of its detriment. But overall, like, it's still enjoyable. We'll go with that. If you can get it out of like a library or something like that, it's worth reading. Detective Comics, though, I'm going to go with the buy. I do like this. If you're into Batman, this is well worth checking out. Batman is part of it, but this really kind of expands the Batman characters, and clearly it's going to play into a lot coming down the road for Rebirth of the DC Comics universe, so for that, too, it's well worth it. So thank you for watching Graphic Policy Television and this. Thank you, DC Comics, for the hookup for the 2 trade paperbacks. If you're into comic news, reviews, interviews, whatever, you can check us out every single day at graphicpolicy.com. We're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all at Graphic Policy. If you're interested in buying either of these, we're giving some options below this video. They're affiliate links, so we do get like a small percentage of each of those purchases, but by doing that, you help support our site and kind of keep us in business and going. But just watching this video, you do help support us as well, so thank you very much. Until next time, keep reading those comics, go support your local comic shop, and keep it geeky. Hey, thanks for watching the previous video from Graphic Policy Television. Just by watching, you help support our site. Thank you so much. Now, if you're watching these videos, you probably care about geeky things like movies, television, comic books, toys, games, video games, you name it. You can go and subscribe right now to our YouTube channel to stay in touch and catch all the new videos, or check out our website at graphicpolicy.com. There's a nice link on this end of the video. But as always, thank you for watching. Keep on rocking and keep it geeky.